Here's a new little amp I got. Oh, hi, everybody. First of all, happy Father's Day. From New X. Look, it's got drums built in. This one particular feel is kind of weird, though. It doesn't feel like quantized to me. Like that snare is late. The snare on 4 in the second bar. But anyway, it sounds pretty good, and it's got built-in effects. It's about the size of one of those little Black Star things. And I was just plugging it in. I like it. New little amp for, noodling backstage and throwing in your suitcase and stuff. Hi, everybody. What's up? I'm back. I've got terrible allergies. I'm not sick, but it feels like I'm sick as a dog. Maybe I am sick, but I don't think so. I think it's just allergies, and I'm jet lagged as hell too from Germany. But I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining. Happy to be here. What's up, you guys? Live stream number 72 today. I mean, I guess it's technically 73 because I did the one from Tillman last week. Did anybody catch the one that I did there last week in 360? That was fun with all those nice folks, my new friends. Who was there? Let's see. We had Rob Chapman at the beginning, and of course the That Pedal Show guys who I adore. Those guys are so much fun. Adam Neely, Paul Davids, Mary Spender, Glenn Fricker. It was a nice group of people. It was fun. Anyway, if you haven't seen it, it's on my channel. I did it at 11 a.m. To the time in Germany, not to Pacific Standard Time, whatever they call it over there. So it's on my channel now. It's kind of fun because you can grab the screen and move it around in 360. Or if you're watching on an iPhone or iPad, you can move the iPad. And then a lot of people were like, this is dumb. This is the worst camera work ever. And it's like, no. Grab the thing and move it. And you can see everybody. You can see everything. Anyway, let's dive in. James F. says, weird question. Saw a video of Melissa Etheridge getting up close and personal with you. Is that something that has to be negotiated in a contract? You mean where she's like playing guitar with her arms around me? She used to come up and do that all the no, it's not something that has to be negotiated. She just liked to come around and play. She'd do it behind Blair, the drummer, too. She'd go behind him and like grab his drumsticks and stuff. She likes showy stuff, It was fun doing all that stuff. But no. Melissa's great. She's the best. And no, that'd be the furthest thing from. I mean, I'm sure she probably did say, like, are you okay with that? Like in the beginning, like, do you mind if I come over here? And like, I'm sure she like didn't want to get in my personal space without asking first. She might have asked me. And I was like, of course, do whatever you want. It's totally cool. So anyway, let's see here. Everybody, happy Father's Day. Everybody's wishing each other happy Father's Day. And there's somebody in the top chat that says, thanks for sharing your time with us. That's Scott T. Thanks, Scott. I appreciate that. Thanks for doing the top chat. I'm happy to be here. Okay. Hi from Scotland, says Mr. Campbell. Says he's cooking chili. Well, I had fun at TGU. What was the best part of TGU, says Murray? It's the people, meeting all those folks and the fun times, the hangs and all that. It's seeing a different way that people do this stuff, I guess, is and making friends and stuff, getting different ideas. There's some brilliant minds there, Adam Neely, comes to mind right away, or, picking the brain of Paul Davids or That Pedal Show guys. I mean, like Dan and Mick are just great guys, and Dan makes such interesting products for guitar players. Of course, all his gig rig stuff. He's a great guy to just hang out with and talk. We did a video on tape delays that'll be putting out where we tape delay pedals, and then he talked about what he likes about real tape delays. And it's cool. The Catlin bread, we used it. The Bell, how do you say that? Bell Epkosh or whatever, Epcock, whatever it's called. We did that, which is the first time I'd ever played through that pedal. I'd never actually tried it. And then an El Capistan and an Echoplex, and we kind of compared all three and play through them and stuff. And we had a really good time. I did a video incidentally as well. It's coming out probably any second now with Paul Davids for his channel, and it was all about assembling a simple pedal board with like 4 pedals. Like, what would your top pedals be if you can only have a few? And so that'll be a fun one. And maybe you guys saw the little practice amps video that I put out this week with Chris Buck. We did, kind of, if they would have had one of these in there, like this little new X, I would have played through it, but we did little amps under $300, and I think they all ended up being actually under $200. It was like the THR Katana Mini and a little Marshall that was 89 bucks. So that was fun. It was really fun. And it was really, I just saw him out in the hallway, and it was like, hey, you want to make a video? And he was like, yeah. And he's like, oh, I like what you do. And I was like, I love what you do. Let's do this. Like, I've got an hour free right now. And he was like, okay. So that's what you see in the video. I just turned on the cameras and did really very little editing. And it's just 2 guys hanging out in the store trying amps and, getting to know one another for the first time. That was the very first time we'd met. And it was really cool and kind of organic and fun. So that's the fun part about going to that thing, I guess, is just where would I get to meet a guy like that? And, it was great to hear him play. He's such a great player. He got such a great, that vocal phrasing thing that he does is so wonderful. So that's really the best part, is just the people. Yeah. We spend so much time doing this, like in our little studios or whatever, independent, and that's great and great to be able to do. But it's to get together and collaborate with people like that. I always say it feels kind of like being in a band, but you're working on video stuff instead. I mean, still playing music and working on music, but it's that same feeling of getting like together with a bass player and a drummer and a keyboard player, and you get in a room and it's like, oh, instantly the creativity's, you're playing off one another. And so it's like that, but for music videos, kind of, that kind of feel. Jeff says Italy was awesome. That's great, dude. Yeah, you went to Italy. That's right. Venice was spectacular. He's in the top chat, by the way. He says, I have a question. Does your Blue Sir have the Thornbucker Plus or standard Thornbucker? It's the Plus. The Plus is what comes standard in my Sir signature model now, in the bridge, and then it's this. There's only one model of the neck pickup. So, and then you can either get the standard Thornbucker or Thornbucker Plus for the bridge. Yeah, it's the Plus. Thanks for doing the top chat, man. I'm glad you had fun on your trip. That's awesome. I bet it was great. I wonder if you're jet lagged too. Are you going to be at Gear Fest both days? That's from Matthew. Yeah, so I'm going to Sweetwater Gear Fest next week, and I'm doing a clinic for Line 6. And it's sort of a variation on the clinic that I've been doing for my Sir clinic, where I create a track. So I'm going to do that, but I'm using the Helix. And so I wrote a track over the last couple of weeks and recorded it. Excuse me. And it's very, sort of Helix centric. Like, I tried to come up with something that really shows off some of the capabilities of the Helix, using snapshots to quickly change between a few different settings without, with full spillover and no gap or anything like that. Using a few of the effects that people might not, like I'm using the vibrato to get kind of almost like a weird wobbly, almost sounds like a broken record kind of effect on one part. I'm using a delay to do a stereo clean part, to split apart, and it sounds like quasi, almost like double tracked, but it's not. So a bunch of things like that. And I'm going to just, play down each part in the track and track the song live in the clinic at Sweetwater. And then I'll do a quick mix and just show some of the tricks and stuff that I would recommend for mixing. And then I'll talk a little bit, if I have time, about distributing music and YouTube and Instagram and stuff like that, as well as like things that work for me, CD Baby and things like that, DistroKid. Yeah. So and to answer your question, because that wasn't your question, I will be there one day. I'm going to be there on Friday. I leave Saturday. So I'll be there all day Friday. I'm doing a panel on Friday morning, I think, too, talking about YouTube and social media and stuff like that, with Tim Pierce and some other players at 9:30, I think, on Friday. Yeah, and then my clinic's in the afternoon. So I hope to meet some of you there if you're around. Shimon's in Israel. He says, hi, what's up? How are you? Hope you're having a good day over there. Right. Oh, yeah. Sorry, Mike. I forgot I had the fuck you coffee cup. Sorry, guys. It's terrible. It was the one that was clean out in the sink, so I grabbed it. That's awful. Uh, what is that? How to alienate your viewers. I don't know what happened in my coffee cup. I've got my Pete Thorn Guitar Nerd coffee cup, and it's vanished from the studio since I got back. So I need to go and break some skulls, figure out where my coffee cup went, or I'll have to order another one, I guess. Perhaps for the gear page dissenters, that coffee cup. Yeah, I was in a pissed off mood last night on the gear page talking about my amp because somebody was saying it's exorbitantly jacked up price, whatever they said, it's all this kind of stuff. It's like, God, dude, some people just talk like they have no idea. It's like, trying to make things in California and just what it costs and trying to run a business so that the business doesn't go under. And they think like, well, it should be the same price as, people that are making 75 cents an hour, or if they're lucky, I guess, overseas and or making these. Anyway, I could go on and on and on, but it's a pretty easy argument to dispel. I mean, because it's like you either want to support American business or Canadian business or British business or wherever you live, or Chinese business if you live in China for that matter, or you don't. And if you do, and you want to buy like equivalent made products that are built, with pride by workers, like I say, the thing's built under the same roof that it was designed, like the designer can walk over to where it's being built and see it in about 10 seconds from his desk. So there's a lot to be said for that rather than farming things out to, a factory that's, 7,000 miles away overseas. And then you get the circuit boards made and they send you 100 of them or whatever. And you look at them and it's like, that's not right. Or something's wrong, which is often what happens. Or it's just not as good as they would be done. Something's off. You know, it's tough these days because they're making great stuff overseas. They are for sure, for sure, for sure. But I don't want to knock. Like I mean, there's terrific stuff made in China these days, in Indonesia. You see some of these guitars and they make good stuff, but there's a lot of problems too, still. And I could talk about that for a long time about the issues that I've heard from guitar manufacturers. Things like it's stuff like this. Like you'll get a bridge made, right? And they'll send you a sample, and you'll see it, and you look at it, and you go, "That's basically perfect. This is exactly what I was asking for, down to the wire, right? This is amazing. Okay, I'll order 1,000." And they go, "Okay." And then you get the run of 1,000, and you look at them, and you go, "Oh my God! Like this isn't like the sample. Like something's different. Like it'll be one little thing that they've changed or something." And you're like, and you contact them and go, "This is wrong. Like what's with this?" And they're like, "Oh, we didn't think you'd care about that." I've heard stories like that. And then it's like you need to retool and like start over again, and there's delays, and it's just like, and it's that stuff constantly. So, for instance, like I know like the Fox Gear guys are making pedals over there right now, but one guy lives there. Like he's relocated to China so that he can supervise the factory because stuff like that goes down. And that's just the reality of it. And it's just that's the reality of making stuff there is it seems like the little stories like that happen over and over. Now, I'm not a manufacturer, I don't know, but I do hear stories like that from people like, and it's a little bit maddening. So it's like, I've always really liked nice stuff that just works great. I like quality things that are like where the fit and finish is, I like German cars. I used to hear a story about how you could take like a quarter on a BMW and stand it up on the engine block and like rev it up to like 7,000 RPM and the quarter won't fall down. That thing will just stand right there. Things like that. I like precision things, which is why I play Sur stuff. I don't know. Like I'm unapologetic about that. I just like things that are really over engineered and built really, really well with fanatical attention to detail because I kind of like that. And I'm not saying that they can't do that stuff overseas, but there's just a lot of stories about, sometimes they do and other times they don't. And so anyway, not only just beyond that, it's great to employ, like Sir is proud of the fact that he employs, a lot of people in Southern California. And, there's a lot of families that are provided for there. And everybody there is in it to win it and loves guitar. There's so many great guitar players in that building that really get it, which is why this stuff, it's a cyclical thing. So when you get a guy on this thread on the gear page about the PT15, he's just like, who cares about that stuff? Like he was saying like, I don't know if you like that, well, more power to you, but I don't care. Like, I just want it to be, cheap basically. Like, it doesn't matter. It's not any better. Like, come on. And I'm just like, man, you really don't get it, you know? But whatever, to each his own. So yeah, this cup is no, that's rude. Okay. Can you tell me what model of cabinet and speakers you use and the mic placement? I want to try to model my head rush after your tone. Well, the speakers I've used for a long time live now are Creamback H75s. And I will say this, like, which you can load that IR in a like a Celestion IR of Creamback 75. Um, I did a Helix rig over in Japan last year to serve as a backup, and I used the placator model, which is for the distorted sounds, for instance, and I used the Lone Star for the clean sounds. Lone Star Channel 1, it was called like Texas something or other, I can't remember what it's called in the Helix. And then the placator is the Friedman BE, and it's, I feel like, the closest thing to my dirty channel on the PT100. So I built my presets around those amps and then just added appropriate drives and stuff. And for cabs, I used Celestion 212 closed back Creamback 75s, and I think I used the 57 balance or 57 dark. And because that's what I was using live, I would probably use the 121 and 57 mix, high gain mix, if I was going for my ideal tone or whatever that I could get out of an IR. But I used just the 57 because I figured, well, that's the closest thing to the real mic on the cab. And actually, when you listen to it in the PA, it was really close. Like going back and forth between the Helix and my real rig, we AB'd and the sound people and all that. And we're like, oh, that's amazing. Like, it actually is really pretty. It's not exactly the same sound, but it's really close. So anyway, if you want to do it in the head rush, I would say some sort of Marshall-y model, and a Fender-y thing for the clean and a Marshall-y thing, plexi or something, and then hit it with a Klon style drive or tube screamer or something for bleeds, and use one of those Celestion Creamback H75 IRs, and that'll be basically like really close to my live sound. I like the Greenback Sir cabinet 412, 121, and 57 mix as well a lot, and I use that all the time. If you just want like the Greenback 121, 57 high gain 412 Sir available from Celestion, so you could load that up in your head rush, and you'd have a really close, that would sound a lot like my go-to tones. Yeah. All right. Rick says he bought a new telly. He's stoked. Everybody congratulate Rick on his new guitar. He's got a Butterscotch 2018 Telecaster. Always fun. Telly's a great thing. They're just really, if you got to pick up one guitar and just have fun and noodle around and write some songs and get a bunch of tones, telly's such a great thing. What do I think of the GFI Specular Tempest pedal reverb and delay? I've only tried that once. It was actually with that pedal show guys in Germany a couple of years ago, but it sounded really cool. Dan was dialing in. I don't have a lot of experience with it, but Dan really likes it. I know that. It sounded really good to me then. I was playing through, some pedals at GitCon, and he had that on a board. Let's see. A Telesheen E9 says, "What's up, Pete? It's awesome to catch you here. Awesome to catch you too, my friend. Nice that you're here." JR said he loved the 360 video from Tillman. Took a while to get the hang of it, but once you dialed it in, yeah, it's pretty cool, right? It's neat. Some people didn't like it at all. I think it's really neat. Flonase for allergies, says L. Scott Music. Mr. Lauren, works great. Take a couple days to get really working. Maybe I should try that. Yeah, what I've got going is the brutal, like, post-nasal thing, So you wake up in the middle of the night, you feel like you're sick as a dog, but it's just because you're, And I took 2 Claritins yesterday, and I'm still just a mess. But hey, Pete, how do you deal with hard drive space and archiving for both videos and audio recordings? Says Jambo. It's so cheap now, man. Just get some of those terabyte or 4 terabyte. Like I have it is actually. Let's see in here. It's a good question. Where's my? Oh, I think it's in my. I think I took it to Europe, which means it's at home right now. I've got some of those WD Passport 4 terabyte jobbies, and they're cheap now. They're like $60 or $50 or something for 4 terabytes. I think 60, 70, maybe, I don't know. Just get something like that and then just pull everything over. Final Cut Pro projects, I don't keep. Like, if it's Final Cut Pro, I'll export the video demos I do, I'll export the main file for YouTube. And I export at 720p, by the way. I don't do 1080 or 4K. 720 is fine in my opinion for YouTube. I've always done 720. Maybe I'll start 1080 at some point, but who's watching these things on a big screen TV anyway that would care if it was 1080 or 720 or 4K? I mean, most people probably watch on their phone. So I don't know. As long as the audio is good, I'm not shooting in 4K, so it's like. But anyway, I digress. I recommend those, or you could get a bigger drive, like an 8 terabyte or something, something like desk, some G drive or something like that. The drives that I use and really recommend are like these are what I use for video and audio. This is a terabyte. This is Samsung. I think they're called a T3. They ain't that cheap. It's a couple $100 for one of these, maybe 180 or something now. They've come down a lot, but this is a terabyte SSD, and it's so tiny. I mean, it's like a credit card basically, and you can just throw it in your bag, and it's like, and they're so fast and reliable, and there's no noise. They're just kick ass. So I use those for when I'm working, and then I'll use traditional kind of 5400 RPM, just big old 4 terabyte or whatever drive to back stuff up to and just throw stuff on there. Somebody's up in the top chat there. Sethers 18. He says, "Hi Pete Thorn. Any recommendations for noise reducing earplugs for live use? My band uses wedges for monitors, and Eddie Monic ER20s don't cut it. Like, are they too? Because I think those are the ones that I've got. I think I got 9 dB filters and 15s. So do you find they don't cut enough volume, or they just don't sound good? You could try the 9 dB filters in those and see if they work for you. They were a little better for me. I've never had great luck with earplugs, but one thing that helps is to put them in when you're starting, like before you start rehearsal, and get used to them for 10 minutes or something before you start playing. And your ears kind of acclimate to them. If you put them in after you've already hit a few chords and then you put them in, you're like, oh, this sucks. Can't hear anything, But if you put them in and get used to them and stuff, talking and playing, getting a couple sounds, tuning up your guitar, and then you start to play, it sort of feels better, if that makes sense. So, because makes sense, right? Because you kind of acclimate to it. It's like putting on sunglasses or something, and wearing them inside. I guess you get used to it, like after a few minutes, So anyway, try that. But those are the same ones. I think Etymodic. I think those are the ones I have, or maybe they're West tones. And the last filters I used were 9 dB and 15 dB. And I honestly feel like the 9s are enough for me, like to knock 10 dB off is enough. But I don't know. I mean, it's hard. I don't really like earplugs, so it's tough, I honestly, I don't think I've ever gotten through a whole rehearsal and left them in the whole time. They just bother me after a while. It's like, I can't hear what's going on. The hardest part for me is I don't feel like I play as dynamic. I'm not connected to my guitar when I got those things in. I feel like I can't roll down and really hear what I'm doing. I wonder if I spent like an hour with them in before rehearsal, if maybe it would be better, if maybe I wouldn't have that feeling. But anyway, they're a necessary evil. The Toman video is one of my faves from you so far. So many of my heroes, says Johnny. That's awesome. Yeah, lots coming too. I've got one with Paul Davids that I just did on kind of on his channel and his philosophy on, what he's done with his career and stuff, because I find him an interesting guy for sure. The one that I did with Dan on tape delays. I did one with Warren Hewart on his favorite kind of outboard mic pre's and compressors and stuff, and how that translates to UA plugins, like Pultex and Neves and stuff, and what he recommends. We talk a lot about like bus compression, about using the SSL bus compressor, and about DBX versus 1176s and stuff like that. So that's an interest. It's just kind of a discussion, and I'm also showing the plugins that are kind of the equivalents of the hardware that he likes in the video. And what else did I do? I did a video on Toman, that place, because it's kind of an interesting place in general. It's like a Sweetwater of Europe, really. So where I'm just walking around the shop and showing all the guitars and the amps and stuff and talking a bit about it. So I'll put that out. But I also did one on recording gear that I just like, as though I was shopping, walking around the store and stuff that I saw that I like and recommend. And so that'll hopefully be interesting to some folks. So all that'll be coming over the next couple weeks, just as I kind of trickle them out. Any new stuff from Germany? Germany. So one of the coolest things I saw there was this isotope thing called the Spire. Did you guys see that on my Instagram or anything? It's called Spire Studio, and it's literally like the size of a coffee cup, like this. And it's got a couple buttons on the top, and it's got a microphone built in, and also has two mic pre's that you can plug in on the back. It's a multi-track recorder with a built-in mic, and it's an amazing tool. You can use it for, if you're just recording, spot stuff. Like you could use it video demos for like recording an amp. You just put it on the ground in front of the amp. It's an omnidirectional condenser mic. And record dialogue on it very easily. One button push and that's it. And it starts recording. Now it's multi-track though. So once you record a track, if you simply hit record again, it'll start recording. So if you were listening on headphones, you could hear the last track that you did. So that means you could literally come up with a song, count in an acoustic guitar part, just be like on your first track, 1, 2, 3, 4, play the part. Now you've got a count, and then you go back and you hit record again, and you'd hear your count in the headphones, and then you could layer a part on top or maybe sing. And you can, I don't know if there's a limit to the number of tracks you can do. You can do a lot with it. So you can just keep layering sound on sound. Then there's an integrated app, and you can either export the whole thing, and it'll kind of do a quasi mix just right out of the unit itself, and send it right to your desktop or whatever. It's super easy to just export it, because it's got a little Wi-Fi thing in it. So you send it right to your computer, your iPad, or whatever. Or you can send the individual files as waves to like your computer and then throw them in your DAW and mix. So this thing's amazing because it's like the coolest, easiest little songwriting tool, or to capture ideas, or like record your band practice, or it's just so easy. It's what a great little tool, high quality, recorder that sounds great. 6 hours of recording, I think. Not like full bandwidth, I assume it's like 24/48 or something that records out. I haven't had a ton of chance to mess with it, but what I did, with it so far, I was really impressed. I recorded some voice just like I'm talking right now, and then I recorded another layer of it and another layer, and then I exported it out, and it said, "Do you want to optimize?" like right out of the unit. And I said yes, and then it spit it out to my computer, and I listened to the file, and it sounded all mastered and like nice and full. Just the talking coming out of it, I was like, wow, that's amazing. So anyway, Spire Studio. That was probably one of the coolest things I saw there. I came up with an idea there because there was somebody I was talking to, a songwriter, and she was like, I don't know what to do for a channel for YouTube. Everybody's saying I should start a YouTube channel. What should I do? And I was like, why don't you make a channel based around this thing, like Spire Studio? You could make a channel where your whole thing is you write a song a week on Spire Studio and put up the video once a week, and you layer the parts and stuff and export it out, boom, and then you throw up the video of you recording the song and maybe the finished mix or whatever plays at the end of the video. Somebody can steal that. But great little tool for sure. Not specifically guitar related, but certainly, great little musical tool. What else did I see there that was cool? I don't know. Something will come to mind. I'm trying to think of other stuff, but that was the one that really struck me. I got a new little video camera, which is pretty cool. Zoom Q2 and 4K. So I tried. I used this yesterday to record a video in here. That's kind of the secondary camera, and it looks great. It's kind of that zoom wide angle thing that they do, but it looks better than old zoom cameras that I've tried before. And it's got built-in stereo mics, and the mics are always great in these zooms, right? Everybody knows, like, that these have been terrific things for a long time. For well before the GoPro or whatever, these guys had great audio. The video was always kind of, but now the video on this one's actually really quite good, I think. So we'll see what you guys think, because I'm going to put up a video of this Constellation overdrive from Crazy Tube Circuits here in a couple days, and I used this for part of it. Yeah, so this is cool. Great little tool, for making videos and stuff like that. I think these are a couple $100. They're not expensive. So that's new. What's a C45 mod? Is that a 45K resistor on V2 like a SLO? Says Deja Blue. Are you talking about Friedman's, the C45? I don't know what it does technically. I have no idea what what is happening, but it sounds a little gainier and a little brighter and sizzlier to me in a great way. Whenever I turn it on, I'm like, ooh, that's nice. You know, like some people out there might know, and probably a lot of people don't know, I had the second Marsha ever made, which was the precursor to the BE. And mine had that custom 45 switch in it. And I remember using it a lot. Like on Guitar Nerd, I used that amp. And that switch sounded great. So I'd turn it on for solos is what I would do. It had a little sizzly thing that was just cool. Phil's up in the top chat. Hi, Phil. Thanks for doing that. He says, my sinuses suck too. I had mentioned the guitar player in Robin Ford's band, Jeff McErlane. Yeah. I'll send you the article from Jazz Guitar Today, from sideman to frontman shortly. Cool. Awesome. Thanks for doing the top chat. He's got to be good if he's playing with Robin, that's for sure, right? Robin's amazing. Okay, I'm going to move down. And have I heard the new Friedman JJ Jr.? I have not yet, but I want to try it. Everybody seems to love that little thing. So I wish Dave all the best with it. It seems like it's really popular so far. I will give it a try. How's that adjustment to your picking going? You know, this morning I was practicing picking a little bit, and I just noticed that it's like, I don't know, man, it's hard. It's like when I default to my old way, I have so much more control. I don't know. It's a bitch. I've been trying to do this thing where I like fan my fingers more and just kind of loosen up. But when I get tight like this and play, I can play so much more accurate. I don't know what it is when I make a fist and then all the picking comes from the pick kind of, but this thing, and then I'm trying to play accurately. It just, I don't know if I'll ever get there with it, but I'm not sure. Thanks for asking, though. I got up early today because I was a little jet lagged, and I played just guitar, just unamplified on the couch for a while, and I was kind of trying to work on it. What's your favorite isolated power supply? You know, I've been using, is this going to make it? One of these, does this make the, shit. And it's all dialed in, and I can't really, I guess I can unplug this and then show you. There we go. This thing from Eventide, right? You guys seeing these? Sorry, it's so bright. So this thing has all these dip switches that let you change the power for every single output. And it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 isolated outs on it. And it'll do, let me see, 9 volt. And it's like healthy milliamps, like 660 per output at 9 volt. 12 volt DC 500 milliamps, 15 volt DC 400 milliamps, or 18 volt DC 330 milliamps. And it's got a USB out on it, so you can, right there, so you can plug in your phone or iPad if you're using one of those. So this is what I've been using. Dave Friedman got a couple, and I think it's what he's using on Steve Stevens' new pedal board. He says they're really good, and he likes it. Seems great to me. It seems like a really, really good power supply. So the Eventide, it's called the Power Max. I'm liking that. Now, I've had great love. I've had great love for the G Lab. I don't know if I would say that. That's probably too strong of a word to use, but it's I liked it very much. The G Lab ones I used on my previous pedal board, and now I'm using Friedman power supplies. I just use, you can see the board down on the ground. I'm using Dave's power supplies under there. They seem really good. They are bigger than this Eventide. Not a hell of a lot, but a little bit. So good luck with all those. I haven't had any problems with the G Labs, the Friedmans, or this Eventide. They all seem really good. Uh-oh. Kleenex soon. When will my PT15 amp be available at Thomann? I just saw that before the live chat kind of snapped. So the deal is that they're making the amps now, and then they're shipping them all out. And I believe what they want to do is make sure everybody's stocked in Europe before they actually sell. So they want everybody to have them in Europe and everybody to have them in the States before they start actually selling them. That's a long story short. So just to be fair to all the different dealers. Excuse me, I need a Kleenex. So, pardon me, I'm going to blow my nose. For that, you get the back of my head. Just to not be rude. So basically, that equates in time, I think, to about probably, loosely, I want to say within the next 2 to 3 weeks. And don't quote me on that, or John will kill me. But I think it's probably 3 weeks at the outside. So anywhere within the next 2 to 3 weeks is when they'll start popping up, because they want to make sure everybody's got them in stock, and then they'll put them out. And that's all in the process of how it's shipping and building and stuff right now. When I was there over a week ago, it was probably 10 days ago, to pick up the one that I took to Tillman, there was 6 built, and then they're building a certain number every week, so it's like good. They had burned in, 3 or 4. They had 2 more burning in while I was there, and they were getting it going and trying to ramp it up and stuff. So I would assume there's, who knows how many now, 20 or something probably, and end of next week there'll be 30, and then 40. So it's going to be a while before they can fulfill. I think it was about 100. I don't know how many orders. 100. Well, I don't want to say because I'm not 100% sure. But anyways, 2 to 3 weeks is what is my guess, something like that. Phil is in the top chat again. He says, here's the URL for the article. I heard him with Robin in New York City. Amazing show. This guy can play. Everybody check out Jazz Guitar Today. Phil posted the link in the top chat, so I think you guys can see it. But I will go check that out. Here, I'm gonna click it right now, and then it'll open a page, and I'll look at it later. So I've got that in my tab now for further perusal later. Okay. Do some 12AX7 tubes provide more gain than others? Well, yes, technically, sure. You might not want it. That's the only thing. But yeah, they do. I mean, they've all got ratings for gain and stuff. It doesn't mean they sound better, or that your distortion sound will sound better with the highest gain tube or anything like that. I don't really think so. But yeah, technically they do vary in gain. Odin Stance says, Pete, which practice amp did you like the best? It's hard to say. That little Marshall was pretty rocking for like I was saying in the video, if you're Slash, you'd probably go there. It actually sounded pretty good. The THR sounded great. If I had to pick one, would probably be that. But then again, the THR was sort of too big and heavy to maybe put in a suitcase. Like it's a little, it's heavy. It's not heavy by any means, and you could throw it in a suitcase for sure. But like the little Katana is more like this, right? Like battery power, and like this is more my speed for travel. This is the little Nu X that's got drums built in, and that's just perfect. I mean, like a little thing that you can battery power and have in your hotel room on the. And it almost takes no weight in your bag. It depends what you're doing, right? If you're leaving it at home and not moving it around a lot, maybe one of those bigger THR 10s or something could be the way to go. But those things sound really good, and they've got a great rep. They've been out for a while now. Pete, could you please make a video of the equipment that you currently use live? That's Magnetar guitar. I did that actually on my tour in Japan last year. There's Pete Thorn 2018 live rig video on my channel. If you search for that, you'll find the video. It's a picture of me playing the blue guitar in the thumbnail. And, I break down the whole live rig. Then I play a little bit in it and stuff and show them some presets. So it's still the same. Hasn't really changed. So that'll be an accurate rig rundown for sure. Those amps are still in Japan, as a matter of fact. They're all like, my stuff's all over there and ready to go in case Kyoji wants to book some more gigs. Sorry about my cup. I'm not talking to you guys. All right. Favorite amp at TGU? Oh, that's China Guitar Skeptic. What's up, dude? It was the PT15. It was awesome. Thanks for saying. Yeah, we got together actually and did a little video with a studio monitor plugged in as the sound source, which was fun, right? Because you can just take a 1/4 inch out of the amp and plug it right into the back of something like a little Yamaha studio monitor or something right in, and then just play like that, or any kind of powered speaker really you could use. And I was trying to get people to hear it that way, because I think that's one of the most fun things about the amp. As a matter of fact, Rob Chapman sat down and he was playing in the live stream area. I had it sitting there when I was doing my live stream, and I had a Genelec studio monitor sitting behind the couch, and he was playing through it, and he thought it was a little guitar cabinet, and the amp was just turned way down. And then he realized it was a monitor, and he was like, oh, that's amazing, dude. So that he actually made a video of that, and we capture that kind of moment. So I hope he puts that out. Folks can see that, because that's one of the coolest things about it, is that you can run it into this, a tiny little powered speaker if you want to, and it sounds and feels like a tube amp. Leon is in the top chat, and he's in the UK. What's up, Leon? Thanks for doing the top chat. He says, I'm thinking of running the PT15 with Power Station 2 to increase the wattage if need be. What do you think? Yeah, I think that'll be great. You'll have a killer rig. If you might be fine with the volume of the PT15, and as a matter of fact, you could use the Power Station to have a stereo rig. That might be another way you could use it, because that's going to be louder too, right? Like just use the Power Station as the return for the other side of your effects, and you could use this to either stereo cabinet or two cabs, and run the 6L6 power section on one side and then the PT on the other side power section. That's another way you could use it with the with that type of setup, and it might be really cool. But yeah, you might just want to use it with the Power Station in mono, and then you've got 50 watts instead of 15. I'm a fan of the Power Station, so I think it's a good unit. Let's see. Never got my super chat answered with Dan and Mick, says Ted. He's in the normal area here. So you sent those guys a super chat thing at their live stream at Toman, and they didn't answer you? It's hard sometimes, I guess. And it's hard to keep up with every single, especially sitting there when you're talking to other people. Like, I've come to realize my live stream is a little bit tough to do with a guest, because it's like my main sort of the format that I do is we talk, right? I'm reading the questions and the things that you guys are saying and stuff, and then if you got somebody else there, all of a sudden it takes you away from the conversation for a while, and then you miss things. Okay. What else we got here? What else we got here? I like the Marshall Studio head, says Craig Flowers. Those new 20-watt Plexi and JCM 800. They look really cool. I've a couple times I've been like, where you're like gear acquisition syndrome. You're like, should I just go in Sweetwater and buy one of those right now? But then I'm like, I have a 71 50-watt right there, and a SL68 up there. Like, I don't need another Marshall Plexi. Certainly not. So it'll just be silly. But anyways. Will you be at Summer NAMM, says Guitar Hack. Wasn't planning on it, but you never know, because it seems like a fun thing, like spontaneously go do maybe. I've never been to it, so I've been to, I think, like 28 Winter NAMM shows, and I've never been to a Summer NAMM show, so it would be cool to go check out. I hear it's getting really cool. It's a nice vibe. My super chat was asking for people's favorite pickup configurations. That's from Ted. So pickup configurations. My favorites are, I guess, I kind of like a lot of different pickup configurations. I love dual humbucking, and like on my guitar, the PT Signature guitar, you can get so many tones out of the split coil positions and stuff. By the way, on my Facebook, I posted a Greg Koch video of him doing a Wildwood rundown of my Signature guitar, where it's like he's doing things that I could never friggin' dream of doing. And there's two. He does one with the black model and one with the gold model. Check it out. It's just, the guy's so mind-blowing on guitar. But it's the best demo that I possibly could ask for of my guitar. If you guys want to see like how much tone with hands like that, and with the settings that he's using, probably simple clean amp and a couple pedals or whatever he's got going, but he switches every single pickup position and plays all this different incredible stuff on my guitar. That's kind of why I like if you want to know why I went with the setting with what I've got on my guitar, you can hear it in that video. He just did an incredible job. It's on my Facebook music page. The link, I put it up yesterday. He's amazing. But anyways, I love 3 single coils too. For some stuff you just can't get around. Like the single coil bridge pickup is killer. I like a tele setup, and I like hums. I'm not really a single hum guy. I don't know if I've ever had a guitar with single hum pickup setting. I've either had dual humbuckers or I've had single hum. So that's the only one that I haven't really messed around with that much, and don't really. I don't know. I mean, I guess it's like Steve Vai's thing of choice. He obviously gets tons of tones out of it. Let's see here. Let's see. Tongue Soul seemed to be the most high gain in a Marshall type circuit, especially in my experience. That's Hoagie about the different gain uh, of 12x7s. Yeah, yeah, they're kind of bright and edgy too. They've got a thing that works well in some amps, and I found a Tongue Soul in my amp is a little over the top for me. But they do have a bright, sparkly thing that a lot of people like and kind of equate to better tone or something like more sparkle, more going on. Certainly compared with something like a JJ, which is like a wet blanket on your speakers. Um, so anyway, my nose is running again. Sorry, guys. This is hard, man. The allergies. It just hit me when I got home, and I felt like pretty much like 24 hours later, it was just like, whoa, I'm getting sick. And then it's like, no, you're not. You got allergies. Really bad. And this is like, I took a 24-hour Claritin like, I don't know, 9 hours ago. It's not working. Alrighty. Did you see the Toby Lee PTM special this morning? Sorry, I don't know what that is. How do you rate him? I'm not sure. I'm sorry, I don't have any perspective on that. James says it's 1:45 a.m. What is he doing awake? He should be sleeping. You should go to sleep, dude. Check out. We won't blame you. We won't hold it against you. Greg is one of the greatest I've heard, says Tony. Yeah, Tommy, sorry. Yeah, Greg's incredible. Great guy, incredible guitar player. Okay. Okay. Why do you never get bad test results from the tested gear? Well, honestly, in my opinion, it's like this. Like I do occasionally, and occasionally I don't do demos of things, and you guys know that. I'll send it back if I feel like it's not great or I don't like it or I just don't get it. It's not my personal thing. But the reality is that we're in a golden age of guitar gear, as everybody knows, and it's hard to exist these days if your gear sucks. Like as a manufacturer, you have to be able to get pretty good sounds. Like I plugged in this little new X amp, and it sounds pretty good. You get good sounds out of this thing. Everything's pretty good these days. Like it used to be a lot of stuff sucked. It did. Like in the 70s, it was hard to find a good Fender or hard to find a good Gibson. You'd have to go through a whole bunch to find a decent one. Nowadays, it's like if you had a crap guitar, you go in Guitar Center and there's 700 other guitars on the wall. So that one's just going to sit there and collect dust. So, right? I mean, it's pretty easy. There's like 400 pedals in the store when you go in Sam Ash or in, or the Sweetwater catalog. It's like, look at how many there is. And there's so many options for learning about these things that if something sucks, you're going to hear about it. All you need to do is go do a Google search or search on the gear page or something for people's opinions. And you've got a million opinions. So you better be making good gear because it's not going to last if it's just mediocre or crappy. So it's not that hard because people don't bring things to market that are shitty. It used to be like people would bring things to market that were kind of like not well made, or like those Fox tone overdrives and stuff, like they sound cool, the fuzz tones and stuff, but they're made like chaos, like people just don't do that stuff anymore. They don't make things that are substandard and constantly need to be returned or get repaired or, because your business will just go under if you do that. So I really equate it to that. I can get stuff just sounds good. There's no other way. I mean, even since the 80s, it's like when you think about some of the amps that came out then, like if I plugged in a PV, Backstage 10 in here right now or something from the 80s, it's probably not going to sound that good. They had a couple amps that sounded good back then, or a Bandit, like I'm talking one of the early ones before they got better in the 90s. The early ones, it was like, like they just, or the distortion circuit in a Roland jazz chorus or something. Like it's going to sound like it's going to sound. You guys know what that sounds like, right? Think about that. It's like that used to be gear that, the cubes. Remember the Roland cubes in the 80s? Like the little, and they sounded like mid-range bombs from hell, like the little practice ones that people had, there was no getting good sounds. Nowadays, it's like you plug in a blues cube and it's like, this sounds great. It's like pretty solid amp, or like the THR, the Yamaha. This sounds great. The katanas. It's like there just isn't that much shitty gear out there anymore. I don't know, and we all benefit, I guess. You got so many options now. Have you ever tried a cock amp? Was it the Greg? I have not. Uh, I haven't actually. Haven't heard good things about them. Heard some people that tried them say they weren't really that into them. I know very little about them. I think they're a German brand, right? Um, but to you, how does Sir compare to Ibanez? Um, Ibanez has been in the game a long time. It's a very different company, very different. And Ibanez, I know some of these guys from Ibanez now and stuff after doing the Tube Screamer demo. I saw some of them last week they had the guys from Polyphia were over at the TGU, and the Ibanez folks were there, and they're really nice people. I would say that Ibanez is like, like, I mean, they were making great guitars in the 70s, and then in the early 80s, like those early Roadstars and stuff. Those are good guitars, like really good guitars. And then of course they had this huge success with Steve Vai, and that just blew up, and they make good instruments. It's one guitar I've never owned. I've never owned an Ibanez guitar, which is weird. I've had Washburns and Hamers and like all kinds of other brands that I've never talked about on here, but I've never had an Ibanez. Not even in the 80s, I didn't have one. Which isn't a reflection on them at all. I mean, I remember a friend that had an Ibanez, one of the 335 Art Star or something, maybe they were called. I can't remember, but the 335 stuff, beautiful guitar, great guitar, like the Schofield kind of. Didn't he play one? Anyway, they make great instruments. Now, most of their guitars are now made in Indonesia, I think, which isn't a dig on them at all. They probably have a great setup where they've been able to go there and make that work and keep the quality standards. I know artist guitars and stuff are made probably not that far from here in LA. The U.S. custom shop. And the Prestige stuff, I think, is made in Japan, right? I think they're good guitars. I like the Joe Satriani model, actually. That's one guitar I would kind of like. The single in the neck and the humbucker in the bridge and the red one or whatever they came out with a couple of years ago. That's a cool guitar. I like the neck on it a lot. It feels kind of vintage, like it's more like a 60s C kind of shape. And I love Joe so much, I really do. I listened the other day to Surfing with the Alien for the first time in a long time and remembered like why it sounds, why I really, so much of my sort of musical sensibility was taken from that, like that sort of way he would construct his instrumental songs, sort of simple ideas and then build and build and then have a crazy solo or something like that and come back to a simple idea with maybe a section in the middle where it goes left, and does something else and takes you on a ride, I always loved his formula for doing that. But anyway, so compared to Sir is a US custom shop all the way. It's a guy that, couldn't get the gear that was commercially available at the time in the late 70s, early 80s to do what he wanted. And he was a perfectionist and he made a company where he could make the gear that he wanted, So I'm just going to do it myself then. If I can't get the gear that I want, if it's not available, I'll make it. And he's a perfectionist, and it's just such a different company, the path of the company. Could you get it one these days? It's I mean, I don't know. Like, the Ibanez came out with a few years ago, those guitars that like the Polyphia guys play and stuff like that. And they look like a Sir Modern to me. So I think that John's getting his, his like if imitations, flattery is the sincerest form of imitation. He's getting a little bit of that now coming from companies like Ibanez and stuff, roasted necks and even the neck shapes and stuff like that. And the body shapes on the guitars, they look like moderns to me. Moderns, of course, a super strat, so it's interesting. But yeah, Two Notes Torpedo Cab M opinions and Two Notes cabs and or reverbs you've installed. The cab, it's one of those devices that has a lot of options, and you just got to try them and see what you like. I'll tell you one right away that I liked a lot, which I used in my video, was the Nuno Betancourt 412, which is Greenback 412 with the 421 mic only, which is not a mic I normally like. For whatever reason, that cab with that mic, one mic on it in the Cab M sounds great to me. That was like a very comparable Greenback sound to my favorite Celestion IRs. Different, but it sounded like two shades of the same thing. Like you move them, like using a different mic on the same cabinet or something. So that's one that I really like that comes to mind. But there's a lot of options there, and you just got to try them and see what. There's a lot that I don't like too. So you can get a little option anxiety probably with the two note stuff because they do give you a lot of options. It's not a bad thing. It's just how they go at it, and there's a lot of options there. So you just got to spend some time with it. But that Nuno cab, that was a go-to for me for kind of greenback 412 stuff. Okay. Do I like Nick Johnston's playing? He came to GetCon, a couple or last year when I was there. He's a nice guy, super nice guy. I never really have heard him play, to be honest. I don't. He's probably great. I know a lot of people talk about him, and I'm sorry I'm not more up on his playing, so I'll have to listen. The sweet dude. He was a nice guy. I believe he's Canadian, like me. Yeah. Anybody see Larry at the Baked Potato this week? Larry Carlton played the Baked Potato. I know Jamie Kime went the other night and was saying it was great. I didn't go, but Jamie, I heard nothing but good things. And Jamie's picky, and he was raving about it. Said he sounded just terrific. He said it's very dynamic. That they would start tunes, come way, way, way down playing the blues, and then just go like the dynamic range was huge, which I love. And I love seeing shows like that at the Baked Potato. Mike does that too. Just terrific. June 24th is Alan Field. Happy birthday. That's right. My birthday is that day. So I appreciate that. I do. I appreciate that. Coming up. Try and skip birthdays now. I don't like them anymore. As you get older, you're like, forget that. Don't need another one of those. Let's see. Never understood the warm beer thing in Germany, says Leo. I broke my no gluten thing and I had a couple beers. I think it kind of messed me up the next day, but I had a couple Pilsners over there the first day I got there, and they were delicious. They weren't that warm. They weren't super cold, but they were good. Yeah. Okay, moving down. The chat jumped, and Loot 89 was in the top chat. Thank you, good sir. Appreciate that. Just going to back up a little bit here because I lost my place as usual. Have I got my hands on a solar guitar? I have not. That's from Hackers. Haven't seen that one. Doesn't the Satch model have a double rail in a single coil profile? Yes, that's exactly what it is. Says Bam. Yeah, it's got a double rail in the neck. And I don't know what, some kind of DiMarzio, I guess. Ibanez Artcore. I have a Sweet Hollow Body by them, says El Scott Music. Yeah, I think Artcore. That's the 335-ish one. Nice stuff. Those are really good. Longtime Ibanez player here, says Lawrence. He says first was an 82 Destroyer lead. I remember those guitars. Yeah, they were cool. I remember that Phil Collin used to use them, that black one that he played in all the, videos for Pyromania and all that. They were cool. I've actually, a friend of mine had one of those guitars, the Phil Collin model with the white, I think it was a white triple pickup Explorer thing, right? Pretty neat. Oh, those were the days. Those were the days. Okay. What else? Get a vintage RG 550. That's the Ibanez that did it. Yeah, that's the kind of like simpler Steve Vai model, right? Like the Dayglow ones that were just like hum single hum and such a thin neck on some of those guitars, right? That's the only thing. But they were a thing. I used to have a late 60s Ibanez Art Shop ES175, says T-Mit73, that he bought from his teacher, wound up trading for a custom shop Strat in 95. Missed that guitar a lot. Interesting. That might be one of the oldest ones I've ever heard of. Because didn't they come out with, oh no, I'm thinking of Yamaha, the late 60s Yamaha one that kind of looks like a Mosrite, you know what I'm talking about? But that was Yamaha, that's right. I wonder when Ibanez started. I don't actually know that. Yeah. Lawsuit Ibanez Les Paul was great. Yeah. Okay. I listened to Surfing with the Alien for the first time in decades last week too. The playing, of course, is superb, but the sound tone is awful. That's ding dong. There's something about the sound of records that I grew up with though, where I can't imagine it being any different. Don't you guys have that? Like, I can't imagine Van Halen 1984 not having the Simmons drums and the chorus and all the stuff that's on there. It just sounds like that music to me. And Surfing with the Alien is like that. I don't find any fault in it. I know what you mean. There's like, was it Ice Nine with the the sound of the guitar at the beginning? It's pretty direct and kind of like, but it's cool. I don't know. It just sounds like 1987 to me, and I don't want it to be any different. I guess if he played it live, it'd be cool to have a live version with different, fatter tones and stuff like that. But I love the sound of that record because what it's the sound of? It's the sound of a guy making a record that was the only way that he could. They made Surfing with the Alien going into studios, as I understand it, in off hours at night when he could get time, because he was trying to make a record for cheap and, working in local studios and stuff like that in Cupertino, I guess. And it's the sound of a guy that was getting the music done any way that he could. And so however he recorded it was the best he could do. And I love that. And it's a moment in time. And not only that, it catapulted him to, it's one of the most successful instrumental guitar albums of all time, if not the most successful. I mean, it's a multi-platinum, with multiple hits on it. Satch Boogie and Always with Me, Always with You these are radio hits. That's incredible what he did back then. Nobody did that before. Not even Jeff Beck did what he did. Where he brought the guitar to a whole new range. I mean, I saw him in Edmonton. It was either on that tour or maybe it was Flying in a Blue Dream, but I think it was that tour in around 88 or 89. I remember going to see him at the Edmonton Convention Center. And there was probably 4,000 people there, which is incredible for an instrumental guitar gig. And it was just a trio, playing instrumental guitar music. It was a magical thing that he was able to pull off what he did with that record. And real underdog stuff, go in the studio in off hours and make that record. So I give Joe a lot of props. And it's a great record, I think. This is it's really listenable. I don't know. I've always liked him. I don't know what's not to like. It's good songs. It's accessible. It's not too complex or. It's funny. My girl Brittany, she was listening to it. She's a guitar player and drummer. She was listening to it and going, "I love this," and she'd never listened to it. And she's really into like prog and. She loves Polyphia and all those bands and likes technical stuff and whatnot. But when she heard it, her response was like, she's like, "This is so good." Like it's like the music that she likes, but it's easier to listen to. Was the impression I was getting from her listening to it. And I was like, "Yeah, it is, isn't it?" It's like really like what's missing in a lot of today's shredding. Because there's pacing and there's a lot of space, even for shredding. There's a lot of and the way that he'll go left and take you on a ride. Every song takes you on a little journey, and he never. There's not really any overplaying on it. And so for a shreddy record, it's pretty magical stuff. It's a great thing to come back to as an instrumental guitar player and use as a reference point if you're writing the kind of stuff that I do for tracks and stuff. So anyways, yeah, it was nice to see her reaction to it because it's like she'd never listened to it. She's younger, never checked it out, and she has a taste for that kind of proggy shreddy stuff and stuff. So it's cool. Anyways, blah 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 blah. Pete, I'm really glad I found your YouTube channel a couple of years ago. That's from Skylark Music. Thank you. Appreciate that. Thanks a lot. You're one of my inspirations and motivations. Great playing, pro tips, and overall, you look like a cool and humble person. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. I hope so at this point. After all these years of, I don't know. I appreciate that. Coming from Canada, though, I always just remember my mom at the airport going, "Remember where you came from." I always remember, how you remember some things in your life. I always remember my mother saying that, like when I left at one point. I think it was when I'd gone home and caused some trouble, like a year or two after I left. I got in a little trouble. I won't detail what, but anyways, and she was kind of worried about me and scolding me when I left. "Remember where you came from." Anyways, Uh, let's see. Anyone know if there's been any updates on the new Soldanos? I don't know. I know he said it was going to be a minute before he got him out. I did a little interview with him in my NAM video. Um, he seems like a great guy, Mike. I'd like one of his amps, maybe the SLO 30 or something, because it's different than anything I have here. It's a different amp. So maybe I'll try and get one of those because that seems like a cool thing to have. Okay. Moving down. Tiger Woods is teeing off now, says SD Design. Hey, don't let me keep you from Tiger, that's for sure. My Roadstar 2 from '84 is my main go-to axe, says Preston Smith. That's cool. The best sounding instrument I own. Might have to do with replacing the bridge pickup, though. It's got a DiMarzio Deactivator X. Interesting. I don't know that pickup, but okay. Reading the chat here. Odin Stan says Pete's live streams are a regular part of my weekend now. Thanks, man. I'm happy that that's true. You being here is a regular part of my weekend too. I really appreciate you hanging. Ian's in the top chat and he says, "Can you block the spammers?" And just picked up a Roland Cube practice amp. Looks like it'll be fun in a hotel room. Roland Cube's great. I've got a Roland Cube from about 10 years ago, and I assume it's similar to the ones now. I find it interesting they still make the Cube actually after coming out with the Katanas, but they seem to keep the cubes going. But I love the little Roland Cubes. I think they're great. If I it's only me here, so if I spend time blocking spammers, it's going to get really boring because I'm going to have to go to the end of the chat and that kind of thing. But anyways, okay, moving down. I'll try if I see any BS going on. Rick Beato was at the show. This is Crit Butler just posted an interview with. Sorry, I don't know what show you mean, but love Rick. He's great. Had a great interview with him. Oh, Eric Gruber says he had a great interview with him. So you interviewed Rick? Rick's a fascinating dude too. Oh, I see. There's the spammers. Yeah, that's neat. Okay. Hide user on this channel. See ya. Moderated. Just give me a second here, guys. Let's do a little moderation. Hide user on this channel. Do I speak Italian? I don't speak Italian. Ridiculous, the spam. It is ridiculous, isn't it? So crazy. I see what you guys are talking about now. Trying to do a little moderation. I think that took care of it all, at least for the moment, until they find me again. Am I going to Summer Jam in Nashville? I was talking about that earlier. I'm not sure yet. I might go. Kind of crazy, like busy, like going into July. There's just so much work to do here, but I would like to go, so I might try. MH says my hair is on point today. Thanks. I'm trying to grow it out a little bit, actually. I don't know what's going on with it, to tell you the truth. Trying to figure out what to do with it. Oh, there's a little bit more. More spam to deal with. Oh my God, there's a lot down there, isn't there? Okay. Yeah. Jeez, bonkers. Okay, moderation. It's a bunch of crap, eh? So lame. Making me work hard. Pete, how do you lose that woofy, spongy low end with plexi type amps? That's a good question from Bill. Well, one thing you can do is run the bass low. Make sure your amp's healthy too. I find like you can have somebody like Friedman look at it and tune it in. I don't get that too much from my SL68 or my 71 here, but these amps are all tuned and stuff, and could be filter caps or something, I guess, maybe when they get older, maybe it's tubes, but I know what you're talking about. I hear people's clips sometimes online of plexis and stuff, and they sound really fartier and more than I'm used to with my amps. Leon's up in the top chat, and he's in the UK. Says thanks on the Bogner Blue Mini recommendation. That thing is amazing. And it really is a good pedal, right? It's a great Marshall overdrive, the Bogner Blue Mini. It's good stuff. Good stuff. If you're looking for, it's kind of a go-to plexi in a box for me. Oh, I'm still moderating. It's getting fast. I'm getting better at it now. Getting faster at it. God, so far back in the chat now. Sorry, guys, I'm all over the place because now I'm trying to delete people. So if I miss your comment, just ask again one more time. Oh, this fucker. God, it's so annoying. Like, who's doing that? Is it just a computer? I guess I'm talking to a computer. So frustrating. Who would win in a fight, Rob Chapman or Rabia Massad? I don't know. They're both, fairly, I don't know. It's a good question. I think they're both pretty nice guys. I don't know. Guitar fight or a fist fight? The Tired Horizon. I'm out. Too many spammers. Sorry, man. That was the Tired Horizon. I hope he. It's a drag that he left because of the spamming. Have you ever talked to Phil X about the music he did with the band Triumph? I know he did that. Phil worked. I always forget that. That's interesting that Phil played with Triumph for a while. This is crazy. He's done a lot of stuff, that guy. I haven't really spoken to him ever, I don't think, about Triumph. I don't know how that never came up. Should have asked him. But anyway, it'd be a great choice for sure. Like when you think about Rick Emmett and who could play those parts and then also sing those parts like Rick, for sure, Phil. And being a good Canadian, only makes sense. Chris says make a moderator. Yeah, I know. I don't have one right now. It is pretty bad right now. Sorry about that, guys. There were so many trolls. Pete Thorn picking Joe Satriani's brain would be a great video. I agree. I would love to interview Joe Satriani. Did you guys see the Steve Stevens rig rundown I did? I can't say rig rundown because Premier's got that patented or something, but I call it Badass Guitar Rigs. Steve Stevens. You guys enjoy that? I only had like 10 or 15 minutes to do that thing, but I feel like it turned out pretty good. I hope you guys enjoyed it if you watched that, and that kind of Steve's thing came across in it. I love doing those things, so I'd love to do more. I'm going to try and make more of them happen. Dave Friedman's really helpful with hooking me up with some of those things because he builds the rigs, of course, for Steve, and the one I did for a Kyber knife fight, he builds those rigs and stuff, and so it's easy to do. But anyways, any new Tim and Pete's Guitar Show episodes in the works? Says Lieutenant 89. I know it's been asked, but I'm sure we'd all love to see it. I'd love to do another thing with Tim. We haven't been actively doing it. I feel like he's sort of, into doing his own thing right now, and he's been collaborating with a lot of other people, maybe that's what he wants to do right now. I'm not 100% sure, but he's always said, look, we could do anything together that you want, but I don't know if he wants to continue the Tim and Pete Guitar Show per se. We haven't talked about it for a while, to be honest, but we did have a lot of fun doing it. It's just hard to get two people together in a room and do it consistently and stuff like that. And the editing of it was tough. I would almost want to do it. We tried it once and it kind of didn't work because his internet, we did it over at his place and the internet was slow, but the live stream format would be a fun way to do the Tim and Pete Guitar Show. Cause like this, but we could do a different thing where it's our thing and we get together and just play and maybe have a guest and just interview them on the fly and take questions from people. I think that would be a fun way to do Tim and Pete Guitar Show. Because it was always the editing and stuff that ended up making it really tough when you shoot like multiple camera angles and have a guest or something and you're trying to record it all and there's 3 guitars. It was like, man, it would take me days because I would do some of the editing sometimes, and it was hard to honestly get them done. But the live thing would be a great way to do it, I think. So So Ben says, I don't normally do this, but I'll volunteer to mod for you, Pete Thorn. This spam is so I've never done that before, actually. I guess I could get somebody to moderate that's in the chat, right? Like I can pick a moderator. I've just never done it, so I've never turned it over to somebody to do before. But if it continues to be a drag, I guess I could do that. I think I eliminated all of the spam though, almost. I see a couple more here, but I can block them really quick. It's pretty stupid. Spammy, spam, spammy. 360 Live, Tim and Pete show. Yeah, that would be cool. That's Chris Schultz. You need one of those special 360 cams though to do that, which they only had at Tillman. And Bam says he would recommend Ben Coombs as he has experience moderating. For sure, I will consider that if it keeps being a problem. We can talk about that. Absolutely, I appreciate that. Okay, well, let's get back on track and talk about anything else you guys want to know that I can help you with. What have I got coming up? Once again, I'm going to not Tillman. I'm going to Sweetwater next week to do Line 6 clinic. So if anybody's going to Gear Fest next weekend, I'll be there Friday. And I'm also doing a panel in the morning with Tim Pierce, talking about YouTube and stuff. So Friday will be a pretty full day. And I'll be hanging out at the Yamaha, the Line 6 booth. I'll have CDs and stuff there if you guys want to come by. So just want to mention that for sure. Also going to be announcing some clinics pretty soon, probably for PT 15 amp. I'm doing one at the end of the month at a dealer down around San Diego, and I'm trying to remember the name of the dealer now. I'm not going to remember. It's the Sir dealer down around San Diego. So it's the 29th of June. I'll be down there doing a clinic. If anybody's in the San Diego area wants to come by and check out a PT 15, I'll have one there. Peter Urban's in the top chat. He says, cheers from YEG. Good to see you, homie. What's your favorite Les Paul type builder other than Sir? Affordable options. There's some great ones that come from Japan. The Cruise, CREWS line from Japan, really nice for affordable Les Paul style guitars, like really nice. And I'm talking in the sort of $1,000 to $2,000 range. Japanese made, really beautiful guitars. I don't know how easy they are to get, or to get one over here, but and likewise, the Edwards and all that good stuff from Japan. Tokai, if you're looking for affordable stuff, that's kind of unprecedented what you can get over there in Japan. So you might try and seek out one of those. Who would you currently want to collaborate with musically? Says Gerald. That's a great question. Thornley, I'd love to work with him in some capacity. I was watching the other day the version of Blown Wide Open that we did at Sir in 2013 or 14, whatever it was, 2014, I think. I really loved playing with him, so that would be fun. That's the first thing that came to mind. I was talking to my friend Jason Freese this morning. He's Josh Freese's bro, and he plays with Green Day, plays keys. He's been doing some really fun videos on Instagram. He put up a video of him. He's a great keyboard player. He put up a video of him playing keys with a drummer friend. He's also done one or two with Josh, his brother. And so we're going to get together and do one, I think. And it's just like kind of like freak out music. And he makes these cool videos, like, come up with a cool riff and play off of it. We'll write something quick and then just improvise in the studio and come up with something. So I'm going to do something with him. I was like, yeah, I'll bring my baritone and a fuzz pedal or something. And we'll just do something crazy. So that'd be Josh and Jason. That'd be fun. So I'm looking forward to that. But Josh is out with Sting right now, so that won't happen for at least a month because he's on tour. I thought they were going to have Dweezil on the Tim and Pete show. That would have been great. Yeah, we were talking about that a little bit, actually. Used a Boss GT1000 at a church gig, says Leo. Pretty tight for huge reverbs and that kind of sound. You liked it? Cool. I made a few presets for them when that unit was first released, but I don't actually have one. Somebody's up in the top chat. It's Rico USA. Thanks for doing the top chat. Love your studio tour videos 1 and 2. Did you keep a copy of your head rack plans drawings? And if so, can you publish them? You mean, are you talking about the furniture over here? I think that's what you mean. I didn't. Somebody built them for me. and then they just showed up with them. They took measurements and just made those things, and I didn't even really know what they were going to look like until I got them. They're like, oh, one day furniture showed up, but I don't have plans. I'm sorry about that. Let's see who else we got here. That Yamaha Mini humbucker guitar is sick. Which one? Is that a Revstar or something? Played a few of those Revstars. The one that Chris was playing in the video, Chris Buck was playing in the video with the P90s in it. That's a nice guitar. Pretty good guitars. Tony says, love watching people who do what they love and are great at it, like Pete and Tim. Thanks. I feel fortunate every time I'm in a room with Tim and just get to soak up some of that knowledge. Really lucky. Great show. Finally got the Line 6 Relay G10S. That's Rope Camp 56. So it works great. That's awesome. That's one of the little wirelesses for at home, right? Glad you like that thing. Yeah, it's pretty fun to just be able to sit on the couch and have your amp across the room and have it work, right? I was just in Tokyo. I don't like big cities, says James, but Tokyo is beautiful. It's a great experience, right? As far as a big city where there's people living almost on top of one another, it's a pretty great thing. Like the way that they make it work, it is a thing of beauty. To see that many people and kind of, but it sort of works in harmony, and it's if you're respectful and people are, they've got a lot of dignity and approach things with honor and respect and stuff like that. It really works great. And the food is great. And just, I don't know, man. Tokyo, I love Tokyo. Just talking about it right now, I miss it. I want to go back. Totally miss it. It's been too long. Split Nasus says, I have a DiMarzio 67 and 61 pickup. Which one should I put in the neck and which put in the middle position on a Strat? I already have the Jeff back in the bridge. I don't know those pickups, so I'm not 100% sure. I would probably put the weaker one in the neck. Put well, not necessarily, actually. But, as you get towards the neck, right, like the strength of the strings vibrating gets stronger. So, yeah, I probably would. I'd probably put the stronger one in the middle if one of them is like a slightly higher output. That's why bridge pickups generally sound better when they're a little bit higher output than the neck pickup, because there's more energy coming from the string vibrating at the neck. So just my recommendation, but it's not all about output either. So let's see. Ever played with Eric Gales? No, he's amazing though. I met him at NAMM last year and I told him how amazing I thought he was. I fanboyed out on him for sure. Dean makes some nice affordable Les Paul style guitars. Who else does? I can't think of any, I would probably just go Gibson, honestly. Like get one of those, like a Junior or something that's like new. But I got to say, the Cruise, if you look for those, CREWS, Cruise, man, nice guitars. They had a Pelham Blue SG that, it was like $1,100 or something. It was so nice. It was a really good guitar. They make more expensive ones too, but Japanese Les Paul copies always been where it's at, says Leo. Yeah, I agree. Love the sound of mini buckers, says Chris. Not a sound that I've ever really spent any time with. The mini humbuckers, I people like them, I know, but I just I've never had like a Les Paul Deluxe or anything like that. It's one guitar that I never owned. I guess I don't know that much about them. Oh yeah, are you doing the clinic at Pitbull Audio in San Diego? That's where it is. So it's a clinic late in June. I believe it's the 29th, but don't quote me on that. At Pitbull for the PT15, if you guys want to come by. And I'll track a song using the PT15. You can come check it out, and we'll listen to it and stuff. It's gonna be fun. It's not too far from home, a couple hours away, so I'm enjoying the thought. I'm hoping to enjoy doing a clinic that's super close. You can just drive down there for the day, and then hang out, do the clinic. Yeah, Pitbull Audio. Yep, that's right. That is the dealer. Everybody's kind of chiming in. Thanks for figuring that out for me. I should know that, right? Do you have a baritone? Yes, I do, James. It's the Dan Electro. Who would win in a fist fight, Rick Beato or the Guitologist? I have no idea. These are great questions. Okay. Any comments on Neo speakers? Um, says Thomas. For some reason, that comment didn't get shown. I don't know why. Neo speakers, is that a bad word? So Neo speakers, my experience with them is that I like the Celestion Neo Creamback a lot. Really good sounding speaker. It kind of sounds like a worn in greenback to me, like a slightly darker, a little bit more relaxed version of like their standard greenback is what it sounds like. Really good sounding speaker. I was thinking about putting them in the PT cab, the new one that we're doing. And I didn't neglect to. I decided not to. Decided to go with a traditional greenback and a V30 in kind of the, it's like that diagonal pattern, and not use the creambacks. And the reason was because the creambacks they sounded a little lower efficiency to me, and it's only a 15-watt amp, so I felt like the amp could use the extra little nuts of like a little bit more drive and a volume coming from that, especially the V30, I guess. But it just sounded better with that amp to me. But it's not a reflection on the Neo Creamback. I thought it was a really, really good sounding speaker, actually. And they are substantially lighter, So I like that one. James says, I have the UAD PT100 amp sim, best amp sim I have, and I have them all. That's awesome, man. I've heard a lot of people say that they really like it. I like it too. I mean, it just feels like an amp to me when I'm playing through it. I don't feel like I'm missing anything really, which is saying a lot, I guess. It's a really great sounding amp sim. This Brainworks, they just did a really good job on it. Terrific. Have you ever met Rafael Morier, a killer player? I've been a big fan. He turned me on to the Bogner tone a decade ago. That's from Stephen Douglas. Yeah, I know Hafa. He's here in the Valley, and we've known each other for years, same circle. So he's a great guitar player. Burning. He's a ripper. A real ripper. Let's see. An interesting question. GR says he's disabled, can only play with my right thumb. I pick out melodies, but how can you damp effectively without the right hand? That's interesting. I'm not sure, man. I guess you'd have to have a technique where if you can lay your hand on the bridge somehow when you're playing with your thumb, right? I guess you're saying that you need your thumb, like, is there a way that you can lie this part of your hand on the guitar while you're still using your thumb? Because I guess that would work, right? And then you'd have to do the rest with your left hand. I know it's got to be super challenging though, and we can't really relate, to the challenges you're facing. I'm sorry about that. It sounds tough, but I guess that's what I would try and do. Any way you can lay your palm on the guitar and still get some mobility out of your thumb. Somebody's asking about the Tea Party, Chris. The Tea Party was a band that kind of became popular in the 90s in Canada, I believe, right? People used to kind of compare them to the Doors. Supposed to be a fiscally conservative and responsible people. Then it was taken over by the religious right wingers and their money. No, the Tea Party politics. I actually read into that thinking, are you talking about the band in Canada? It was supposed to be a fiscally conservative band. Sorry, I think I need more sleep. I only slept 4.5 hours last night. Somebody was asking like opinions on the Tea Party. And anyway, I missed the boat on the Tea Party in Canada because I moved before they became popular, kind of like I did on Big Wreck and also like Tragically Hip and all kinds of bands that became really big in the 90s in Canada. And I didn't know anything about them because I'd moved away to the States. Anyways, have you tried Kingsley gear from Canada? I have not. I haven't. From Tolman, a Harley Benton SC550 for about $270 is a great single cut Les Paul style guitar with excellent fit and finish. I saw some of the Les Paul Harley Benton juniors. There was like a TV green junior. It was a pretty good guitar, I don't know where they make those or what the deal is with the Harley Benton guitars. I don't know anything about them. I was pissed because they copied my guitar, I remember that like a year ago. And so I didn't sort of like, oh, I didn't pay attention to them anymore after that. But it's interesting, Did you ever see Johnny Winter play? That guy was amazing. Just on videos and stuff, I guess I never caught him live. I saw Edgar, I think, opening for ZZ Top in about 1982. So I'm dating myself there, but maybe it was 83. It was the year before Eliminator came out. And I always remember seeing ZZ Top because they were on the El Loco tour. and they were amazing. And there was like 4,000 people there, 5,000 people there, and everybody looked like bikers. That's my memory of it anyway, as a young kid. And then 1 year later, Eliminator came out, and I saw them in the same venue, and there was 14,000 people there, and it was all little kids, like, because they had "Give Me All Your Love" and then "Legs" and all those tunes, and it was like hits then, and they completely transformed their audience. And I remember being like 10 or 11 going, whoa, like this changed. Like, I remember this last year. This was like Beer Drinkers and Hellraisers. And now it's everything's changed. But anyways, I started listening to them around El Loco, and I was just a kid, and I loved that record. Loved it. Loved that weird record. Such a weird record. Sir's a huge ZZ Top fan, and he loves those first two ZZ Top records. But for me, it was like the ones I had were Fandango and El Loco. Yeah, it's like I grew up listening to those, and then Eliminator came out, which I liked too, but it was like, oh, drum machines and stuff. It was just different. Anyway, how did I get off on that? Oh, because Edgar opened. That's right. It's funny how life goes. I remember like Edgar opening that show and seeing him, and he was cool and everything. It was great. And then I remember being in Japan who was I there with? I was staying at the old, I can't remember the name of the hotel, but it's where the Beatles stayed when they went to Tokyo. This was pre my time with Tyoshi. I think I was there in 2004, maybe. Yeah, I was there with Rocco Rosa. That's what it was. And I came out of my room in my hallway, and there was Edgar Winter standing in the hallway of the hotel in Japan. I remember going, "You're Edgar Winter, wow!" And it was like 2004, so that would have been like 20 years after the first time I saw him opening for ZZ Top, and that's a long time ago now. That's 15 years ago or more now, right? So 2003 or four. But I remember, it's just funny to see somebody as a kid, and then you run into them randomly in a hallway in Tokyo in a hotel. It's just kind of funny. But anyways, blah, blah, blah. I listened to Holly's album a few times, says Blackstrap Blues. Her songwriting is amazing, and great job on the production. Thanks, man. Did you play any of the guitar parts, or is it all her? I played a little bit. Like, we're talking about Holly Henderson. So her album, Monday Green, came out. Please go give it a listen if you haven't. I'm really proud of that record, and we did a lot. I'm already hearing it and wishing I did some things different mix wise, and there's just a few things. But then there's some tracks to me that just sound like, if you listen to Frantic and consider that's a girl at 19, 20 years old, she wrote that song. I mean, I didn't have anything to do with it. And if you listen to the vocal harmonies and the stacks and stuff like that, that's all her brain, and it's insane for her age. So please, everybody, check out Holly's record this week, Monday Green. It's on Spotify. It's on Apple Music. You can, anywhere that DistroKid distributed it, it's out there. So give it a listen. My favorite tracks are "We Sold the Earth," because I just think it's, it's all about, kind of destroying the earth, environmental song. Frantic. A song that she ended up calling "The Ghost of Denmark Street," which used to be called "Psycho." But anyway, it's a really, really cool little track where she sings in a very thick English accent, and I love that. I always think it's got great character when people do that. But and starts off with "Uncommon Love," which is a pretty cool track too. It's a little bit more of a typical. The two songs that I co-wrote with her on the record are "Uncommon Love" and "Cost of Love." So we co-wrote those two tracks towards the end of the recording, and you'll hear the differences in them, I think, and you'll hear a little bit of me in them, my sort of sensibilities. The other ones are all her, everything basically. Crazy bridges and stuff like that, interesting breakdowns, and if you listen to those bridges and the breakdowns and the way where she goes with things, and imagine me hearing them for the first time in some sort of broken down form and saying like, "Where are you going?" Like, and I'd have to listen to it like 3-4 times, and I'd go, because my instinct would be like, this is meandering, and like, I don't know where you're going with this. And then I'd listen to it 3 or 4 times. I go, oh, wow, that's really cool, and I'd just be like, just shut up and let her do her thing, just step back. Don't constantly try and, like, give it 15 minutes or 20 minutes before you think like, okay, I think we need to address, because there was a few times where I was like, this is too crazy or whatever. But a song like Frantic, her brain at 19 or 20 years old writing that stuff. That's what attracted me to her when I first saw her on Instagram and the stuff she was doing. I was just fascinated by, it's like, how did like where does this person come from? Like how do they come up with this stuff? It's really, I don't know. She's got a special mind for music for sure. So yeah, Holly Henderson, Monday Green. Please give it a listen. If you only listen to a couple tracks, Pride Can Wait, beautiful. Your Hands is beautiful. Frantic. We Sold the Earth. Really, really great songs, I think. And with that, I'm gonna just get a Kleenex and blow my nose. Hey, fever. Oh God! Just look at me. I'm a mess. Thanks for listening to it, by the way, Black Sharp Blues. I really appreciate it, and for bringing it up. I'm going to move down now in the chat, and I'll go for another, 10 minutes or something like that, hanging, and then I'm going to split and go do some work. Love that video of you and Chris, says Seagull guitarist. There's a guy who has continued to expand musically. Used to watch him do his Slash covers way back when. He looked pretty similar too. Yeah, he mentioned that he was like when he played the old Marshall, or not the old Marshall, the little baby Marshall. He said it was bringing him back to, or maybe it was when I was putting on the heavier distortion setting on the THR, and said it's bringing him back to. And I guess he used to do that, right? But yeah, he's an incredible guitar player, man, Chris. What do I think about the AMT Electronics preamp pedal? I haven't seen that. Sorry, I haven't tried that one yet. Let's see. Ronnie's just stoked to go on tour next January to Tokyo with my band. Bucket list place to visit. Dude, awesome. Congrats. Have fun. What do I think of Tool? I love Tool. They're great. Yeah, super cool. Super cool, man. Super cool. Rick Beato was at that gig and just posted an interview with Larry Carlton from the venue after the gig. Oh, Rick went to see Larry. That's interesting. I didn't know Rick was in town. Rick, why didn't you hit me up? Troublemaker. That's really cool that he got to interview Larry Carlton. I think that's terrific. He'd be the ultimate guy to do that because he's got an encyclopedia kind of knowledge of, he would know everything about Larry, I'm sure. Japanese culture uses the natural environment in their architecture. They don't just bulldoze everything like Hollywood. Yeah, true. That's true. Excuse me. Hope you feel better soon. Pete Thorn says, Paul in the top chat. Thank you, Paul. I appreciate that. Thanks for doing the top chat. Too kind. Thank you. Pete, looking forward to catching a Sweetwater this week. That's Keith. He says, if you have yet to be at that facility, it's pretty amazing. It is. I went there once. I did some videos for Boss there about, I don't know, it was 2012 or something. Maybe 2013. And it's a hell of a place. It really is. It's going to be interesting to go back. Watch your demo of the MXR Carbon Copy Mini. Really like it. That's Surfbite. I think I'll pick one up. I'm in a mini mood these days. It's a great little pedal. Sounds like the big one to me. I think that's a good idea. Gibson Harley fan says, I enjoy your videos, Peter. I hope you feel better soon. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Let's see here. How do I feel about Harley Benton basically copying your signature guitar? Well, I had mixed feelings about it. I thought it was funny they showed up with it at the GitCon. But it's really only a copy, like I've said before, in the aesthetics, and it's just a color. And, they didn't even really copy the back color or the neck color. So it's just a color and a kind of design with two pickups. And it's a two pickup super strat style instrument. They didn't really like nail the woods or anything like that. And they don't have the pickups, and it's just an aesthetic they copied. So I don't really have a problem with that, Let's see. The riff you played at the beginning of the Cali 76 demo is awesome from Ireland. That's James from Ireland. Thanks, man. I wonder if you mean the big one or the little one, because I did demos for both of them. But I remember liking the thing I did for the big one a lot. The whatever the piece of music was for the big. I think for the little pedal, I did real bass and drums with Blair Cinta and John Button. Now that you're mentioning it, I seem to remember doing it because I used it on the drums and stuff. I used the compressor pedal. Uh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna go to the end of the chat, see what's going on down here, and then I'll probably split in 5 minutes or so. Beato's live right now. Is he? Is he in LA and live? I know he does his live stream Sunday sometimes too, right? Um, let's see. Larry Carlton and Rick nerded out big time. Did they? I bet they did. Had a bar band with the ex-drummer from that song, Mama Let Him Play. Mama Let Him Play, I remember that song. Jerry Doucette, great guitar solo. So, Mama Let Him Play, that's really where I kind of there's a part in the song Monster Movie from my first record. That lick is like that Jerry Doucette solo. So the two places, and I talk about that in the Guitar Nerd lesson. So I stole this lick kind of combining Jakey Lee from Bark at the Moon and the solo from Jerry Doucette and Mama Let Him Play. Great guitar solo in that song. Anyways, we're old. Boy, oh boy. Now, moving down. In some ways, it must be an honor that Harley Benton made a cheap and affordable guitar based on your Sir for the fans that can't afford your signature. Yeah, I don't mind. If people like the look. I mean, I think it's a nice looking guitar too. So it's a nice color combo. I love the idea of doing the simple kind of, like with the scrape binding, but it's a solid color top. And it was kind of like, I'm not really a flame top on anything other than Les Paul kind of guy. I love flame tops on Les Pauls. Any other guitar, the flamey stuff on Strats, and it just doesn't really. I'm not really into that for me. I like solid colors or sunbursts with alder bodies or ash bodies on Strats, and so my guitar's a reflection of that, I guess. Not flamey. Now, having said that, I have thought recently about a certain thing. That's all I'll say for my signature guitar, but we'll see. 46 tomorrow. You're old. I'm still young, says Preston Smith. You're 46 tomorrow, Preston? Happy birthday, my friend. Have you played an Anderson Bobcat or Bulldog? I played a Bulldog a little bit at NAMM. That's it. Just picked it up and kind of messed around. Anderson guitars are typically very nice. You and Phil should do a cover album of Canadian bands. That would be smoking good. That idea's already been done, though, with that band that I played with, Took. Have you heard them? Because they do it better than the originals. Well, listen to the Took albums. There's 2 out now, I think. I went and did one gig with them 2 years ago now, I guess, on Canada Day, July 1st. Sorry, excuse me. Up in Manitoba. But they do incredible versions of all those old Canadian rock songs that are, nobody could do it better than them. I mean, they literally, I think they sound better than some of the original versions. Todd Kearns, that guy's such a monster. And Corey playing guitar, he's incredible. Really great. And I believe Corey Churko, I think he does all the mixing and engineering and stuff. And, Kevin Churko's is his bro, who's kind of a engineer producer in Vegas, right, with a lot of kind of like classic rock and hard rock stuff. And he set up a studio out there in Vegas. Yeah, 2 great band names, says Ben. Check them out, man. Check out the Took records if you haven't heard them, Ben. You'll dig it. It's crazy stuff. Listen to the versions they do of all these old great Canadian songs by Trooper and Street Art, and it's good stuff. You and Phil should just do an album, period. I'd love to record it. I love Phil's original stuff. I Want My Money Back or whatever that song was. That's great. And he makes great videos too. A lot of it he edits himself on his phone, I think, or something, or uses iMovie and just records on it. He does really funny videos and stuff, really watchable. How about Lukather's Quilted Maple Valley Arts Cherry Sunburst Super Strap 85? Okay, You're right. That's a pretty cool guitar. That was one, but that's because once again, that's part of my youth. Just like I was saying, like I can't imagine Van Halen 1984 sounding any different. I can't imagine Lukather's guitar looking any different from that era. Gold hardware, cherry sunburst, black pickguard, EMGs, the whole nine yards. It was a cool guitar. That just looks like that era to me of Luke. Uh, any experience with Fane speakers in a Marshall style amp? No, but they've got a couple new speakers that I've wanted to try for a while. Fane K something or other 60 and 70. You know, I'm a Celestion guy through and through, but I've wanted to try those. I have. I wish my beer was as cold as your heart, says Eric. Yeah, that's a good Phil song, right? What happens now with Slash's band when GNR is back together? Are they still rocking? Slash is on tour right now in Europe. So yeah, he's still out and rocking, and they have dates. And he put out another record, I think, last year. Schenker's 80s V. Cool guitar for sure. Okay. Greetings from Scotland, says Richard Lee. I missed the start of this, so we'll catch up on the entire stream later. Pete, you were awesome. Thanks, Richard. What does a sideman charge today for a week, says Henry J. There's no standard when it comes to that stuff. You know, some guys are probably out playing gigs for $100 a show, and other people are making 10 grand a week or a show, probably. I don't know. There's absolutely no standard. There really isn't. No two gigs are the same, and there's no average, and you'd be surprised many times how low the pay is for even like, you know, Taylor Swift's band or something like that. You know, it's not what you might think. And then in other situations, you'd be like, whoa, that's actually pretty solid money, and it could be with an artist you've never heard of. You know, so it's all over the map, and I know that's not really an answer, but it's true. Can you do an intro lesson explaining how the Edge uses delays, specifically the dotted eighth, feedback, repeats, and delay time settings? One thing, I'll tell you something right off the bat, is that it's not just a dotted eighth sometimes. It's a dotted eighth and a quarter, and that really helps reinforce the time. So try using a dotted eighth and a quarter, which is pretty easy to do if you're using something like a DD500 or a timeline from Strymon. You can get the two different delay times. I guess it's kind of the 2/3 setting, right? 2/3 would be the quarter, and then is that right? I don't know. I just know it when I hear it. You know, I can't sing it to you right now. I just know how to set it up on the delay. But basically, what you want is a dotted eighth and a quarter, and the quarter gives you when you're getting dun 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 dun. It's enforcing the dun 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 dun. It's giving you the kind of like, if it's just a dotted eighth, it doesn't sound as strong, and then you mix the quarter note in there, and all of a sudden the rhythm starts bouncing off of, and it sounds like, I don't know, it just sounds like Edge all of a sudden. But anyway, try dotted eighth and a quarter, and that's the one thing that'll really, and then just tap in the also vibrato on the delay, not chorus, is a big part of his sound to me. The Memory Man with the vibrato, quite a bit of modulation going on the repeats, and it's kind of a fast mod. That sounds like Edge to me. So, have you had a chance to check out the Boss Waza Tube amp expander? I have one here. There's been a little bit of talk about it on the gear page. There was an issue identified with it. One of the issues is that the IR loader, for some reason, is changing the sound of when you load an IR in there. They don't sound exactly like they should. And I actually brought that up to Yoshi, who's the president of Boss. We talked about it, and they've actually found the problem. So I'm going to take a little bit of credit for helping to identify. But there was a guy on the gear page as well that brought it up. One dude wrote that he was noticing that it was changing the sounds of the IRs. And so anyway, long story short, in the last week or so, Yoshi chimed in on the gear page, said we found this issue where it's boosting lows and highs like 4 dB and 3 dB respectively. And they've come up with a software fix, so they're gonna put out a new firmware version or whatever, I guess, to kind of solve that issue. So I kind of was waiting for that before they try more things. before I try more things with it. Yeah, according to Duff, a new GNR album could be a thing in the near future, but Slash also can still do the other tours too. Axl's supposed to be doing the next AC/DC album. I don't know about that. Maybe, but what about Brian being photographed with the band in Vancouver? The last I heard about AC/DC was that they were recording in Vancouver and they were working to tracks. There was all these, for those that don't know, there was all these like demos they did with Malcolm back before Black Ice, I think. Like, this is probably going back 15 years or something. And they'd recorded a bunch of these demos, written a whole bunch of tunes and tons of riffs and things. And they have all those tapes. And they went back and listened to some of it, and I guess it's really great. And so what they decided to do was work to those old recordings. So it's actually Malcolm playing. And they went back and cut to his rhythm guitar, which is great, I think. And there's photos of them at the studio in Vancouver, and Brian was there, and Phil Rudd was there. I mean, everybody was there. The whole Back in Black era band, basically, because it's Malcolm on the tapes. And so that was great, I thought. And I think that would be the way to do it is, Axl sounded really good on that tour. I don't know what you guys think, but I thought he sounded great. But it's like, I don't know. I have a hard time with it because they're getting old, and it's like, I don't want to see another singer in AC/DC. I don't think making a record with them and another bass player and it's just like, oh, you guys were a team, like, it was that unit for so long, and then it's like, what? I don't want it to go that way with that particular band. With some bands it's okay, I guess, but AC/DC, man, it's just like, if people are getting too old and it's like not, I understand Angus still wants to make music, make other music. I don't know, like, do you have to call it AC/DC if Brian's not there and if Phil's not there? Because that's sort of part of, I don't want to hear another singer. And I really, I know Chris Slade was, a part of the band and had a big hit with Thunderstruck, and so he was a part of the band for a long time. But Phil Rudd, man, is such a big part of AC/DC, as was Malcolm, really, Phil Rudd and Malcolm are just like, it's just some of the parts, that band, so much. So you start changing all these members, and it's like, you really, I don't know, you just can't really call it AC/DC. Maybe you can, I guess. There's no rules, but who the hell am I to say? But I just personally, I don't know. That said, Axl sounds great singing Whole Lotta Rosie, a little on top. It's the one thing I noticed about his vocals. I don't know if anybody else out there knows, but he's got great energy. I mean, Axl ruled 2016, in my opinion. He did a tour with Guns N' Roses and with AC/DC that year. It's like the two biggest rock bands probably still in the world, and he's in both of them out there singing, and broke his foot and all that, and still kicked ass, and shows up on time every night. And he's just like, man, that guy wins rock in 2016. That was great, and he did sound great singing those songs. But I still have my mixed feelings about it, and I just think Brian should be. I love Brian Johnson. I mean, where's my photo? Come on. This guy. Come on. That's a good guy. Just look at him. I always remember. Look at, I got the same smile. Yeah. That was a good night, man. I remember this day like it was yesterday. That dude was so gracious and cool, and I don't know. So how can I want to hear Axl sing, not when I got that personal memory of that dude. Like that it's so much fun that night, man. And he was just a great hang, and like super nice to a 14-year-old kid. So I just have that in my head, and I can't remember. I can't think about it any differently. If it's not him anymore, it's just like, just pack it in. I don't know, just my opinion. Okay. Jennifer Preachy, who always swears in the comments, so her comments never show. But she said, Dave Grohl wins Rock for the broken leg on stage, finishing the show routine. But Dave lent Axl the chair, right? It was his chair that Axl sat in. His David broken his leg. Anyways, I saw Axel with DC. He was awesome. It has to be said. I agree. He did a great job. He really did. But what am I going to do? You know. Will you invite Neely Brush over to play a solo in one of your demos? She's in. Yeah, she lives around here. Yes, I mean she's great. We're friends. I know her pretty well actually. Um, I saw her over at Sir's place. Actually, she was over there for like we had a dinner over there a while ago. And she was there, and she was living in Vegas for a while. She's relocated back to LA now. I haven't seen her recently, but she's great and a killer player. Um, the groove is what makes ACDC. Says waiting for an alibi. I feel like it's not ACDC without Malcolm. I agree. I mean, you like Chinese Democracy. I've never listened to it, to be honest. I listened to it a little bit once, and that's it. I feel almost guilty. It's like I feel obligated to listen to it after all that money and time that they put in. I should probably listen to it, right? I will. Okay, I'm gonna go listen to Chinese Democracy. I'm gonna put a little bit on after we get off of here. I have no idea what it sounds like. Um, does that ever happen to you, or where you like you got your favorite band and you don't really put time like beyond like Van Halen 3? I really didn't listen to that record. I really didn't listen to Balance until recently. I'm a huge Van Halen fan. And I put it on in the car a while ago and listened to it because I'd never really given it the time. Like in the 90s, I was just doing other things. And I love Van Halen. You guys know I love Van Halen so much, but I really didn't give it the time of day. So then I went back and listened to it. Interesting to listen to these records after the fact. Van Halen 3 is a really interesting listen. Um, the way Gary Sharon record. Really listen to it. Go through the tunes and really, it's an interesting. I won't take anybody's opinion. This is like if you go through and put some time in and listen to it, it's kind of fascinating. I missed the Black Sabbath The End tour. Says Aquila, kicking myself for that. I actually saw them here at Ozfest. So I did see them that one last time. It's not that long ago now. I mean, it's a couple years ago, I guess. Iron Maiden is the last gig I saw. He said. Chris Butler said, have you or any of us in the chat sprung for a set of Kinman passive noiseless Strat pickups? Are they good at doing? They're really highly regarded. I've never played them. I'm not really sure. I understand them to be as quiet as EMGs. I think Kinmans are kind of the same as the Virtual Vintage, similar, where there's still a split coil, but it's like only a very small coil is the split. Sir swears it's still not the same as. He's like, yeah, you can't do a pickup like that, and it'll sound silent like a single, and sound like a single coil if you do your silent pickups that way. But I've heard people that like the Kimmons and also like the DiMarzio Versatile Vintage, so I don't know. But okay. Do I think that Big Wreck is going to pull through with Brian's passing? Yeah, so sad about their guitar player passing away. Obviously, they have tour dates. That's a huge loss. Yeah, I agree. Huge loss, and who knows what the timetable is like for them now, but I think they will. Yeah, I think, they'll continue, and I don't know, anything beyond just anything really, but I'm pretty sure they will continue on. Okay, I'm gonna go to the end here. So I gotta split soon, you guys. Have I tried the Hot Tone Ampero amp modeler? I have not. Hotone. Pete, Harley Benton is Toman's own brand. No, I know that. That was Odinstein. I do know that, but I just don't know anything about where they make them. I assume they're made in China, probably, right? I had Kinman, says Aquila. He says they're okay, but likes the old-fashioned noisy stuff better. I agree with that. I don't really single coils. I mean, I don't mind if they make some noise. I have no desire to change out the pickups in my old Strat, for example. Do I think HSS Strat is any less versatile in the bridge position with its split to mimic a single in the bridge? Do I think it's any less? Well, it'll never sound exactly like a true single coil in the bridge, but that's why I have both. But if I had to bring one guitar to a gig, it would probably be a HSS single. Because it's tough to get at that single coil to ever do what a bridge humbucker does as well. Just never sounds quite as smooth. you know, even when you add as much gain, it's always got this thing to it, and the bridge pickup of Strat. I love that sound, but I don't really like it for heavy gain. I don't like a. Now you're making me think about it. I don't really use heavy gain on a Strat bridge pickup. It's just not something that I'm that into. Um, you know, you always have to add a little too much gain to get that Strat pickup to in the bridge to work. But the neck pickup's okay. You know, sounds cool. So I like hum single for sure for any kind of gain stuff. But if you're playing clean and kind of anything chimey and jangly, and you need, you know, like my main guitar when I was playing with Don Henley ended up being a green Sir Strat, that kind of they call it Cadillac green. And it was a three singles, and it worked great for playing all the Eagle stuff. Definitely. Have you ever enjoyed the sheer awesomeness of the Aristocrats playing live? I've never seen an Aristocrats show, actually. I haven't. I guess the reason incredible though. Chris says, "Pete, you rock. Great chat. Thanks. Thank you. Wow, Brian Johnson's so young in that pick. You know who else is young in that pick? The other guy. Pretty young. Yeah, I mean, this was, 86, I think. So, yeah, no. Oh, those were the days, right? Hi from Northern BC. And Northern BC in the house. Just in time for me to go. I'm sorry, I got to split. I got to split. You guys, thanks for joining this week. Thanks for coming back and seeing me on this Sunday, Father's Day. I wish all the fathers out there a happy Father's Day. Have a good rest of your day. You should chill, relax, let the kids, I don't know, bring you lunch on the couch. Kids, do something. It's Father's Day. Yell at them. Yeah, put your feet up and enjoy the rest of your Sunday. I'll be back next week, you guys. What have I got coming up this week before I go right now? I'm going to do videos pretty quick here for the exotic, super sweet and super clean. These are cool little pedals that'll enhance your direct tones if you're plugged right into your amp. You need a little kick. I want to do a video of this pedal really soon. This is the Over Unity from some friends that I met at GitCon last year. It was made in Australia. This is a very nice overdrive pedal. Sounds really good. Got a unique kind of character to it. This is coming soon as well. Look at that bad boy. All the way from Greece, I do believe. Overdrive with a bunch of various textures. I'm also doing a video right now. It's sitting here in the stand on my desk, but it's the Constellation from Crazy Tube Circuits, multiple different fuzzes and treble boost circuits. So I'm going to be working on that as soon as I sign off here. And I'm doing videos I'm going to do some synergy videos for mainly what I'm going to focus on is using them with my PT amp to add another channel to the amplifier. So I'll use my amp as like kind of the Synergy one, because that's one of the things about the Synergy stuff that I find most interesting is that you can use it as a preamp to add a channel to your existing amplifier. So, I'll probably put a Soldano module in it or something and try it with the PT15 and get a different flavor of drive. Maybe the Vox module. That might sound cool. So I'm going to try a couple of these things with it and make some different videos. I'm going to avoid using the full rigs or amps and stuff because I have a signature amp. So I don't really make amp videos beyond Stir. But using it as a preamp to add a channel to my amp, that's something I can do. And I find that to be kind of one of the most interesting things about the Synergy system. Rather than buying the entire system, what if you just buy the Synergy 1 or 2 and then you add the channels to the amp you've already got and expand your tonal capability? I don't feel like anybody's focused on that too much yet. And I think that's a really useful thing and kind of a unique thing about that product. So I'll be making some of those videos and putting out more videos from the Tolman, Gearhead University. You'll see the Paul Davids one coming this week, as well as the one I did with Dan for the delay pedals, which I think is pretty cool. And lots of good stuff to come. So you guys have a great week, and I will see you very soon. Hope to see some of you next weekend at Sweetwater. I'll be back Sunday, so I'll be here for my standard time, same time, same place. I will have done the Line 6 clinic by this time next week, and I'll probably be even more jet lag because I think when I come back, I got to get up super early to fly back to LA. Anyway, that's too much information, but blah, blah, blah. Have a great week. Happy Father's Day. Over and out.